What's going on, everyone? It's Richard Dixon here from Yes Academy Limited. Let me spank this triple espresso because we don't muck about. As you might be looking, you might be thinking, Richard, what has happened to your tech budget? You normally have thousands and thousands of pounds touchscreen on a monitor in the middle of your event space. You can click and do this. Why are you using a £16 whiteboard from Amazon from which you have the pen and rubber thing inside of your pocket? Well, that would be because our event space is in use just now and I need to record these videos because I'm flying to Las Vegas in the morning to go and chill with my boy Hormozy. So I have been demoted to using a physical whiteboard, which is fine, because I've got important information for all you, especially young hustlers out there. The reason I say especially young hustlers is because it's mostly young people that do this kind of daft stuff that I'm going to talk about. And it's a good way to divide your attention hugely. It's a good way to make yourself really stressed. It is a good way to not make any money but convince yourself you're going to be really successful. And this is something that we've all heard of. The absolute worst part of the internet just now. Hopefully you can read that handwriting. Side hustles. I am sick of side hustles. I'm sick of side hustle culture. I'm sick of people that talk about side hustles online. I'm sick about everything to do with side hustles, and I'm going to break it down in today's video as to why having side hustles is the worst thing you could ever do as an entrepreneur, why it's just a load of shit. It's just crap. Everything to do with side hustles is crap. Now, firstly, let's just think about it in a time sense. Likely you are not going to be someone who has enough money or resources to quit your job straight away and go into business. It is very reasonable to assume that if you are starting a business, you're going to be juggling full-time employment or studying or whatever it may be, something to help you get some type of money in, whether it be through student loans or actual payments from your job, whilst also trying to launch your business. Let's assume that you're working 40 hours per week, plus you also want to maintain a little bit of a social life. That will go, by the way, at some point when you start taking business seriously. That's just part of it. You are going to be pretty short on time. And you go and you decide that you're going to jump on some type of business model that you found on the internet, whether that be drop shipping fulfilled by Amazon, crypto or FX trading, property deal trading, copywriting, video editing, all these things that are trendy online. Now, by the way, let me just say firstly, I think all of those things make money, right? They're probably not for every single person, but none of them don't make money. There is ways, if you approach them correctly, you can make money in all of the things I just listed. So it's not that you're making bad decisions, it's actually your attitude that causes this to be a problem. So these are the two types of people that fall into side hustle culture. And it is because of all these creators you see online. One of my most hated ever bits of information that is so incorrect and wrong is when people say the average millionaire has 7 forms of income. So they've got, you know, the main business, and they've got this little side thing and this side thing and these shares and dividends and this portfolio. This is just wrong. It's totally wrong, and nobody can really comprehend the sheer number of millionaires there are in the world. Somewhere in the region of 50 million millionaires in the world. You're trying to tell me that 50 million people, so, and by the way, that's way more achievable than people realise. But when you look at all of that, you're going to quickly realise that there is no way all of those people have 7 forms of income that are considerable. But what you hear is, instead of the average millionaire who has probably built a solid business as a foundation, or is on a ridiculous salary, really high up position at a, you know, top business or whatever it may be, what you hear is, for me to become a millionaire, I need to create 7 forms of income, which is the exact opposite. That is not what has been said. So you go and you are side 1. So we've got one side here and side 2 here of the people that fall victim to the side hustle culture, right? Now, version number 1, you come along and you decide to start a business. So you're like, okay, I've seen some people having success with drop shipping. I'm gonna, you know, watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos, maybe buy a little course. I'm gonna set up a Shopify store. I'm gonna figure out my niche, the products that I want to sell. I'm gonna take it to market. I'm gonna spend some money on ads because I'm saving money up from my job, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be my business. So you spend couple of months getting all this set up to the point that you're like, nice, business number 1 exists. Maybe it's not profitable, maybe you've not even made a sale yet, but the foundations and the ecosystem that makes that business tick is built, right? Now, at this same time, you're probably consuming a lot of content online. You're watching different entrepreneurs, you know, and one day you could be watching my channel, then you could be watching people nowhere near as cool or successful as me, like Alex Hormozi and Iman Gadzhi and people like that. I'm just joking, obviously they could buy and sell me and my whole bloodline for like the next 5 generations. But the point I'm making is you're watching a lot of content. And that's really good because you get a lot of different takes on things, a lot of different information. But what every creator has, especially in the entrepreneurship, business and biz op niches, is they are biased towards whatever it is that they do. Naturally, of course they do, because it's what they understand, it's what's made them money. That's why I'm of the opinion that all of these different things can make you money. It's not to do with, oh, this one is the best because this person said so. They can all make you money. I'm often advising people to go and pick the thing that they find the most fun and the most interesting and the most enjoyable, because you can make money from all of them. You start your drop shipping store, and take for example one of my friends, he's really big in the drop shipping niche in terms of his course and stuff, a guy called Lewis Smith. You may have seen him, Dropship Unlocked. You're watching Lewis's stuff and you're really enjoying it and you think, wow, this is awesome, and I'm gonna get this book and I'm gonna download this and I'm gonna build this store, and you've started it all up. But whilst you're watching that person, it's likely that you might be watching someone like me, or someone like Greg Secker or Jason Greystone, or like one of these big trading creators, Sam KB, whatever it is, you're watching that stuff. And you're sitting with your drop shipping business that's not really started making any money yet. Maybe you've made a little couple of sales, but you're also watching these other creators who are talking about trading at this point. And obviously they are talking in a positive way about that and almost pitching it to the audience. You know, this is what I can do with trading. It takes me this amount of time. It's an attractive offer with a bias because they are good at it, right? Bias is not a bad thing. It's just natural because that's what they've made the money in and that's what they're good at. So you're sitting and you're going, yeah, I mean, I have this drop shipping store, but it's going to be a little bit harder and this trading going to be the better thing. So what you do is, silly, you just scrap this, right? Why is this not working? You just totally scrap this business. You go, right, fine. I am now going to start a new business. I'm in trading now. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to learn how to trade. I'm going to put all my time into learning that, and you start learning that new skill and you close this off. Think, nope, it's not as good a business opportunity. Do you see where I'm about to go with this? I hope that you do see where I'm about to go with this. So you're at this point now where this business is no longer there. It's gone. You start learning how to trade, and by the way, it's from what I understand of the industry and the little knowledge I have, most of which is very outdated, it's stressful and it's really difficult and it's not something that's fruitful at the start. And you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and you land on someone else's account and they're talking about Fulfilled by Amazon, Amazon selling another type of e-commerce, and you think, oh well, I've done the Shopify thing and then the trading's really stressful, so okay, I'm gonna get rid of the trading. Now I'm gonna do Fulfilled by Amazon because that's a good business model, there's low startup costs. And what you do is you just do this again and again and again. You know the type of businesses I'm talking about when I say it's the trending ones on the internet, right? Like, obviously we work with B2B, we work with business owners 99% of the time, and we just teach business owners in any industry how to market and how to use AI to save time. That's it. So I don't really have something that I can teach people that is like a business skill, AKA you go and learn drop shipping to make money from drop shipping. You come to me to learn about marketing, AI implementation to grow your business. You don't learn what I can teach you and then go and sell that. Does that make sense? It's not I'm not selling a business opportunity, but you know what I mean when I talk about online business opportunities. The ones that are already listed earlier on, your trading and crypto and FBA and e-commerce and all these different things. We all have friends in our friend groups, right? And I'm going through this right now with Rebecca's little brother. He messages me and asks me stuff about different businesses all the time. This kid's like 15 years old, has no business experience, obviously, because he's 15 years old, and he messages me and he's like, hey Richard, what's SaaS? And I'm like, software as a service, why? Yeah, I think that's something I'm gonna do. And obviously I'm like, yeah, nice one, big G, boom. But at the same time, I'm also like, SaaS is your first business at 15 years old? And then 3 hours later, I'll get, is dropshipping dead? Is dropshipping good? Because they're seeing all this different type of content. So we will know what it's like, especially as young men, you know, you're income motivated and stuff like that, to have someone in our friend group come to us and be like, oh boys, I'm just about to try this new thing. I've seen this Fulfilled by Amazon. I've bought a little course for 500 quid. I'm gonna put some money into this and see how it goes. Inside of that friend group, unless you're me and you have like 3 friends in the whole of the planet and they're all way more successful than you are, you'll find that inside that friend group, there is always one person that's done every single one of these that falls into the archetype of person one. Oh, Richard, you don't want to do Fulfilled by Amazon. I done that, it doesn't really work, it's a scam, like it's not really a thing. And you're like, oh, right, okay, how come? Yeah, I set it up and I didn't really make any money, and you don't get a huge amount of information off them, but you're like, oh, okay, cool, like that makes sense, I appreciate you letting me know. So maybe you park that to the side, or maybe you don't and you give it a try, who knows. And a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, you think about doing something else, or adding another business to your portfolio, and you're like, yeah, you know, I know I've tried this Fulfilled by Amazon, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time learning, you know, copywriting, video editing, and Facebook ads, so I can start up a social media marketing agency, because I see guys like Jordan Platten doing that, and I see guys like Iman Gadzhi talking about it, and that's what I'm going to go and do. And that same friend, person one, yeah, bro, I had a SMMA before. I started up that agency, I was cold calling and prospecting. Doesn't really work, it's not as easy as people say, and you're like, oh, right, so you've done the Fulfilled by Amazon, and you've done the SMMA. All right, okay, like, fine, fair enough. And any business model you ever suggest in your life, in that group chat, or on that night out, or with that group of friends, or on the PlayStation party, that person is going to say, yeah, I've tried that, it doesn't really work. And what do we need to look for? If this was like, if we were doing maths in high school just now, what would I be telling you to look for? The common denominator. And unfortunately, it's the person. I see people in like every industry imaginable, and I see them through from startup and trying and putting graft in to hyper successful deca-millionaires, in some situations centimillionaires and beyond. Centimillionaires being people that are doing like over 100 million in revenue every year. Huge businesses, right? So I know from my own experience that you can be successful in pretty much anything, right? But this one friend is always the person that's like, yeah, you can't do that, you can't do that. Eventually going to turn around and realize it's you. It's you are the problem. It's your issue. You are getting shiny object syndrome. You know, it's like in Family Guy. If you remember, there's Hilbert in Family Guy who's like the village pedo who is always trying to get Stewie to come in his house. And you know the thing I'm talking about? When he puts all the sweets out, it's like this really common episode of Family Guy. He puts all the sweets out for my kids who were born in like the mid to late 90s. We survived on BBC Three, right? I didn't have Sky in my house. We had digiboxes, so BBC Three, as soon as 7 PM hit, both. That was me on it. But it was like that scene in Family Guy when Stewie's like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. And he's just going and he's getting drawn in by that next thing, then boom! He's trapped inside like a basket or whatever happens to him, right? That's what people are doing with this. Oh, I'm doing the SMMA, that's awesome. Oh wait, what's that? Is that trading? Oh, I'll give that a try, awesome. Oh wait, I know I'm trading commodities, but that's trading crypto, is that better? Oh, I'll give that a try. And they're so busy not thinking about the thing that they're actually doing that they go and start chasing something else, right? Straight away, that's what they start doing. Shiny object syndrome. It's like the image of the horse with the carrot dangling in front of it, and it's always running, it's never able to catch it, because it's just false motivation in front of them to get them to keep going, right? So that friend I'm talking about, they exist everywhere. They all exist everywhere. Now you might also have the opposite to number one, which is number two. And that person is very, very slightly different. And let me tell you why. Because when we talk here about this whole list of stuff, they're going one finish, one finish, one finish. They're killing the business, trying something else, killing the business, trying something else. What person two does is they try to juggle every single one of them. So they start with business one. They start with the FBA or the drop shipping, or they start with the SMMA or the video editing or whatever it may be. They start with that. And then they see another income opportunity a couple of months, a couple of weeks later. And they think, oh, well, you know, I'm working 40 hours a week, my SMMA hasn't taken off yet, so why don't I add this in as well? And that's another skill that I can use to make £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 per month potentially in my spare time. And eventually this person, over the course of, let's say 2 years, right? So across the course of 2 years, they could have, in theory, and take the word business very lightly here, please. They could have like 6+, I'm just gonna write BizOps, business opportunities, active at that one time. You ever meet these people sometimes at networking events, and I hate networking events just for clarity, but I'll meet people at events or people that come to do training with us, and I'm like, oh bro, what is it you do? And they're like, yeah, so I run an SMMA, I've also got like a crypto portfolio, I trade during the day, I've got this, I've got that. And you don't have a clue what they actually specialise in by the end of them describing themselves. In my head, I think straight away, busy fool. That's what that is, busy fool. Because if you were making considerable money from one of those things, you would have mentioned just that one thing. And maybe say, oh yeah, I've got some other businesses and interests, but my thing is X, right? And that's not what you got. So these are the type of people that are taking the spare 30 hours per week, right? They've got 30 hours per week, divide that by 6. What's that, 5, I think, right? 5 hours across the week per biz ops. That's 5 hours to run an SMMA, 5 hours to trade the crypto portfolio, 5 hours to update their Amazon store and do the order fulfillment, 5 hours to work on their Shopify store, 5 hours to do blah, 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 5 hours to edit videos, 5 hours to, go on Canva and do some freelance copywriting. This person here is way better than this person here, right? Attitude-wise, they're so much better because they're trying to manage all these things, and they've still got shiny object syndrome and they're still dragged about different things, but they're trying to manage all this stuff because they're money motivated. But if only you realised, right? And by the way, I've been in this position before, taking on too much at the one time. I can't say I'm not guilty of it. I've never been that bad like any of these two, but I've taken on more than I had the capacity for at certain times because I've seen it as an opportunity. If only person 2 or person 1, if only you, right here, that's you, right? Nice haircut, you look sick. If only you had picked one thing, just one, and that 2 years that you were adding the 6 businesses that are all active at one time, or the 2 years that you spent cycling through individual businesses every 3 to 4 months, if you had just focused on one thing, plus 2 years, that would have equaled way more money in both situations, because all of these things work. And by the way, I'm not just talking about for the trendy internet jobs, but you know what I'm talking about just now, because you see all the creators and it seems so easy and the barrier to entry is so low, and you think, yeah, sweet, I'm just going to jump on that and do it. Awesome. You could have the same attitude with people that start, a plumbing and heating business, or manufacturing windows, selling tech stuff, opening a takeaway. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm just using this because I know the barrier to entry is so much lower in these things. You can find all the education online, low startup costs, motivated by your favourite creators talking about them and all that kind of stuff. But if you just focus on one of these things for a couple of years, even if you got that to like a basic income level after a lot of work, you're making like 5k a month, you're going to be making way more than if you were trying to juggle 6 things at a time, or if you burnt 5 or 6 businesses inside of the last 2 years. 5k is really achievable. Honestly, like I don't say that in a sick way, 60k across a year. Like if you are working hard, you could do that for sure. I don't care if you're 16 years old, right? Likely you could do a lot more with focus in the right places, but not if you're person 1 or person 2 that I've already spoken about. You will struggle, you will burn yourself out. And often what I find with the person 1 archetype, you believe that business isn't even real. You burn yourself out so much by going through all these different biz ops that you are just completely burnt out with business. Oh, business is a scam, being an entrepreneur is a load of rubbish, and you just become a hater straight away. Person 2, at least you're maybe thinking, oh, is this quite as good? Is that not quite as good? You're mentally probably so burnt out and so overworked and just frazzled because you're trying to balance all these different things and stay up to date with the latest trends and prospect your clients and make those offers and fulfill the different jobs. It's really, really difficult. It can be really difficult. Every successful person, even if you're a 6-figure entrepreneur, of which there are hundreds of millions in the world, right? If you're a 6-figure entrepreneur, every single one of them who's worth listening to and will eventually go on to 7 figures plus in revenue, and eventually then, 8 figures plus and so on, of which I have a whole bunch of friends. I can't turn around and say I'm an 8-figure entrepreneur. I'm not, right? I am not at that stage yet where my active business interests every single year are doing over £10 million, right? We have a multiple 7-figure education consultancy business. We now are in a position where we take shareholdings in other businesses, and it's super exciting for me, but I can't turn around and go, I'm an 8-figure per year entrepreneur. That'd be talking shit. But I have so many of them in my circle, so many of them. And I've been on that journey from 0 to 100K, to 500,000, to 1 million, and so on, right? All of the entrepreneurs that I know that do the best and that I get the best advice off of, they have every single time what I would call, I'll spin around here so this camera, angle 2, can get my nice beard in. Shout out KC Barber, St. Vincent the Barbers, Drumchapel. Not that I have any other reason to ever be in Drumchapel, it's not really a place I've ever went, I just go there for my haircut. They all have, oh, come on, why is this, we need to increase the pen budget in here, Zane, I think. Primary income. So when I say that, when I talk about the 7 forms of income, I'm not saying that they don't have other things. I'm not saying that they don't have a business that's doing 5 million a year, plus 5 properties, plus, you know, like one of my most successful mates just now. He's got an incredible business that he sold for deca millions, that he still owns a large percent of. This guy is like the hustler of the century. Shout out Steve-O, Primal Strength, right? Like, he's got Primal, and I mean, incredible business. A business worth like in excess of £30 million, right? This guy buys and sells watches, cars, doesn't matter, because he finds it fun. He's got his job during the day, he'll get different watches, he'll get all that kind of stuff, whether it's Pateks, Rolexes, APs, and he'll sell them and make a profit. Now, in comparison to what he makes in his business, it's insignificant. It's maybe a couple £100K a year, but he finds it fun. But he still has that primary income. Every person who's on that path, or has been on that path, multi-7 figures into 8 figures, they always have a primary income. Will they have investments? Likely. Will they have other things that they do? Yeah. Will they have other businesses that they own shares in as a consultant or an advisor or a board member, or just plainly an investor because they believe in the business's mission? Of course, but they all had a primary income that got them there. So my point to you guys is focus on one thing for an extended period of time. Be honest with the amount of work that you're putting in, because often the results are hiding in the work that you don't do. So if you're going and giving no effort to something and then complaining about why it's not working, that's on you. You need to take ownership of everything in your life, good and bad. Don't turn around and blame the business opportunity. You need to look and see what you could have done better. Yeah, you might not like it, you might not have any success over a year or two because it's just not for you, it's just not clicking, there's other stuff going on in your life, and you move on and you try something else and you give it 100% and it works. Or you move on 2 or 3 times and it works, but you're not moving every 2 or 3 months. You're not running 6 businesses at a time while still in a full-time job and making less than 10K a month from your 6 businesses and your income altogether. Don't be that guy. Focus, dial in, become an expert, give an expert service, and once you get that business to a more considerable turnover, then you can start thinking about investing and doing other things. And always look to invest your money back into the business that pays you first. That's a video for another day, but it's a good little piece of advice to end on. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe down below. Let me know in the comments if you agree, or let me know about the 17 businesses you've got going on whilst being 15 in high school and riding an e-scooter every day. That would be awesome as well. And I'll catch you all very soon. Peace.